How you doing? How you been? Hope you're doing well. It's Oddly James. Welcome to my channel all about paganism, witchcraft, and the like. Before I get into this video, I want to kind of give you a little bit of an update on the channel. Starting next week, I'm going to be uploading 2 videos a week. The first one will be on Tuesdays, and that's going to be a topical video. So I'll talk about particular topics such as, paganism, different witchcraft topics, things like that. And then on Fridays, I'll be uploading a vlog video, and those will be mostly things, personal updates, off-topic discussions, such as, piercings and things like that. And the vlog videos will just give me a chance to talk about, things that aren't really pagan and witchcraft related that I just like talking about. So there's like the little channel update. So now for this video. So in this video, I'm going to kind of explain my particular pagan and witchcraft beliefs, the things that, or traditions that I follow, particular beliefs I have on spirituality and things like that. And I kind of want to do this video as sort of just maybe like a reference or a baseline before we get too deep into the channel talking about other topics the way I see them. So you can always come back to this video and see kind of like where I'm coming from. And so that's the purpose of this video today. So I'm going to break this up into 2 different topics. We're going to start off with my pagan beliefs, pagan practices, and then we'll get into the witchcraft because I am a traditional witch. It's secular. However, there are some belief structures there that kind of weave into my pagan practices. And we'll get into that a little bit more later on. So let's start off with my paganism or my pagan practice and my pagan beliefs. So I am a polytheist, and what that basically means is that I honor or work with multiple deities. And in my case, I work with a couple different deities from different pantheons. Now, I was originally just working with Brigid or Breed. She is from the Celtic pantheon, the Celtic mythos. If you've seen my videos before, you know that her altar was here. I moved her altar back there just behind me. Now she is a goddess that kind of represents the dawn, the new day. And so I wanted to put her altar right in front of the window there so that every morning I come in, I open the window, I turn up the blinds so that the sunshine comes in on that altar. She is also the goddess of the forge. She's the goddess of the fire, of inspiration, divination, the hearth. So I work with Brigid for inspiration, for content creation, for my photography, for anything artistic related that I'm trying to accomplish. I work with Brigid on that. She also works with me, assists me with divination, because I do read tarot cards, and I also do the pendulum divination, which mostly I'm reading for myself. To be honest with you, most of that is just done for myself. I've read for some friends here and there, but I'm not any sort of professional reader or anything like that. It's just primarily for myself, self-reflection, things like that. And then recently I started working with Hecate, and she assists me with primarily magic work, spell work, things of that nature. So Bridget is kind of like my matron. She's my main. She is always there. And then Hecate is kind of there to assist me in my magical workings. She kind of appears when I'm practicing, which I might not do a lot of actual spell casting, but I am doing some sort of magical practice every day, whether it's something simple as weaving magic into making my cup of coffee, starting my coffee, putting intentions into that in the morning. She's there for that sort of work. And so I'm kind of mixing pantheons, and that's okay. And I guess I should preface all this by saying, you don't have to worship the way I worship, or you don't have to do or follow the traditions that I follow. The nice thing about paganism is that we all have sort of our own path and things that resonate to us. And so working with these two deities really resonate with me. I apologize for the weird cut. Frank, my dog, wanted in. He's going to come in and out. So I apologize for all the weird cuts in the video. But so that is polytheism for me. I know that some polytheistic pagans only honor deities within one pantheon. Some honor deities within multiple pantheons. Some are soft polytheists, meaning they believe in one sort of divine entity or deity that has multiple aspects represented as separate deities. And then for me, I'm a hard polytheist. I believe that each deity is their own separate entity, their own separate being. So that is me, that I am a hard polytheist. If you are a soft polytheist, that's fine too. That's okay. Like I said, we all have our own pagan paths, and you should go with what works for you. Now, as far as my actual practice in paganism, mostly consists of making an offering to Brigid, to Hecate, lighting some candles, meditating. And for the pagan practice, when I meditate, I'm not trying to work any magic or change the energies around me or anything like that. I'm just simply meditating. Sometimes it's to meet with my deities, have a conversation with them. And sometimes it's just me sitting in front of the altar, having conversation with my deities, checking in on them, asking if there's anything they need of me, and we kind of work that way. And that's kind of what my pagan practice looks like. Now, as far as other pagan beliefs that I have, you're probably wondering, okay, well, what do you think about, or what do you think happens when we die? Because that's kind of like the big thing. It's kind of the big factor, I guess, when it comes to comparing paganism with other Abrahamic religions. For example, Christians believe you go to heaven, and if you're not a Christian, you're not going to go to heaven. So for me, I believe in reincarnation. I follow the Celtic. I follow the Celtic traditions that So this is just purely my theories. I could be wrong. Nobody really knows for sure. I believe that in our spirit form, we choose our next life based on things that we need to learn in order to become better in the afterlife. It's a mix of kind of Buddhism with some other things in there, and things that I've kind of picked up along the way. So when we die, our spirit is released from this vessel. Our soul, if you want to call it that, is released. I think there is a period of time that we remain somewhere, whether it's an underworld or whether it's an afterworld. We remain somewhere for a period of time to prepare ourselves for the next life, to await our next vessel. And I think based upon the things that we need to learn, that's how we choose our next life. So for example, I fully believe 100% that in my past life, my life before this one, I was an abused woman. The reason why I say that is because anytime, if I'm watching a movie and I see any sort of violence against women, it really triggers me. Like it sets me off to where like I have to get up and leave the room. My wife was watching Outlander one day, and there's a scene where the main character was getting beat up by a British soldier, and I got so angry I had to leave, and I had to come in here and sit in my office, and I steamed for like the rest of the day. I can't watch movies where there's violence against women. I'm a huge horror fan. I love horror movies. That kind of violence is a little different for me, especially if it's like fantasy violence, like slasher films, things like that. But when like real violence that could, like domestic sort of violence that happens against women, not just in movies, like anytime I see that, it just makes me angry. I'm just using movies as a reference or as an example. The reason why I brought up horror movies is because there's a film called Incidents in a Ghostland. This is available on Shudder. Somebody had recommended this to me because I do a horror movie podcast where I review horror movies. Somebody recommended this movie. I was barely able to finish it because of its subject matter and its violence against two women. The only reason why I finished that movie was because it was from a viewer recommendation and they wanted to know my thoughts on it. I came real close to just turning it off because I was just so angry. So with that said, with me thinking, I mean, again, I could be wrong. With me thinking I was an abused woman in my previous life, to me, it only makes sense that in my life before that, I was an abuser. And so I had to learn and experience what 2 lives ago I did to women, or possibly women. So therefore, when that version of me died, it had to learn, or wanted to learn, my spirit self wanted to learn, needed to learn what it was like on the other side, or on the other side of that coin. And so now here I am, and I fully believe that as children, it's easier for us to remember parts of our past lives, like actually remember. But as we grow up, we kind of lose touch with that, or some of us, most of us, lose touch with that sensitivity. Some of us still remember our past lives. There are people out there who do, and you could probably go through like past life regression therapy or hypnosis. But I'm just talking about on the regular everyday. But I do feel like we have part of that experience within us as part of our personality traits. So for me, seeing any sort of violence against women, it just sets me off. And I believe that's probably why. So yeah, when we die, I fully believe in reincarnation, and we purposely incarnate into lives where we need to learn a specific lesson in order to heal, to grow as a spiritual being. Now in Buddhism, Buddhists believe there are 7 levels, right? Once you hit that 7th level, you become a Buddha, a perfect being. Is that true for me? I don't know. Maybe we just continue to go on and on, but at some point I feel like we've learned all that we need to learn, and we can move on into the actual sort of next realm. To me, it just makes sense. That just makes sense for me. Again, like I said, I could be wrong. Nobody knows. So that's kind of my beliefs as far as spirituality, and my pagan practice and pagan beliefs go. So let's move on to witchcraft now. Witchcraft is going to be a separate kind of thing because you may be watching this, and if you are new to paganism and to witchcraft and to occultism and all this other sort of alternative lifestyle or alternative religions, you may be assuming that all witches are Wiccan, right? And that's not the case. There are a lot of us who are traditional witches and traditional and folkloric witches, and that means that our practice is secular. In Wicca, there is the idea of the god and goddess duality. You have the Wiccan Rede, which is basically do what you want as long as it doesn't hurt nobody else. You have the threefold law, where if whatever you send out comes back to you threefold. Those are all Wiccan ideas. Now, 20 some odd years ago, if you watched this channel before, you've heard me say this. I was Wiccan because I think anyone who gets interested in witchcraft, that's kind of where they start, is Wicca, right? Because that's kind of like the most popular form of witchcraft. So I started with Wicca, and then after a few years, I realized it just really wasn't for me. I didn't like the whole structured archetype. It just didn't really resonate with me. So I stopped practicing Wicca. And then recently I found traditional witchcraft, and I was like, this is more my style, my thing, the way I like to practice, the way I like to worship or whatever. So for traditional witchcraft, I'm only going to make some assumptions here. Because I only know like what I've read in several books, from speaking with other traditional witches, from listening to traditional witchcraft podcasts, things like that. The majority of traditional witches are animists, meaning they don't really work with or worship any deities. They don't do any deity work. They are animists, meaning they believe that everything has a spirit, spiritual energy, spirit attached to it. I myself am also animist. I also, along with my deity work, I believe that every object, every plant, every blade of grass, not maybe blade of grass. So this is where it's going to get a little complicated. I believe that everything has a spirit, has a spiritual energy, whatever you want to call it. There is a spiritual, sentient energy attached to it, right? And all of us are connected to I guess you could call it a divine source, right? So it sits at the center, kind of like the sun. And we are all branched out from that. We're still connected to that divine source, and we're connected to each other. So everything is interconnected. I believe that symbols are powerful spiritual energies, and that's why some witches and some pagans get symbols tattooed onto their skin, because they are powerful symbols that have spiritual energy attached to them. They are living symbols. And so I know it might seem a little weird to kind of mix animism with deity work, but it works for me. It works for my belief system. Now, do I think that those sort of things reincarnate? I don't really know. But I do feel like even animal spirits, they reincarnate. I don't really know how it would work, but that's just my belief. It's just my belief. And then, so also traditional witches work, instead of with deities, we work with ancestors. We work with the spirits around us, the spirits of our land, the spirits of the land in our backyard, or the spirits in our backyard, in our region. We call that bioregionalism. And so those are the energies that we work with, rather than having a masculine and feminine divine spirit or whatever. That's a Wiccan idea. Now, if you're interested in traditional witchcraft and you have read Keldon's book, The Crooked Path, which I do have, it's on my bookshelf back there. There are some ideas in that book that are very heavily Wiccan based, and I don't particularly agree with some of that stuff, because he says, he talks about instead of it being the horn god and the goddess, he calls it the witch father and the witch mother. To me, it's the same concept. And when you perform magic, you call upon them to assist you. To me, that's a Wiccan idea. It doesn't really fly with me. But there's a lot of other great stuff in his book, so I'm not like downing his book or anything. This is gonna be a long video, and I apologize. So my witchcraft practice is mostly secular, except when I do work with my deities. Now, when I am doing spell casting work, I ask Bridget for protection against any sort of negative energies, and then I ask Hecate for assistance. I ask my ancestors for assistance, and the spirits around me for assistance when I'm doing spell work, or even if I'm just doing magical workings, psychic work, or divination. Divination is more on Bridget, but I will ask for my spirit guides to assist as well. So I'm calling upon a lot of different energies to give me as much help as I can, or as I can get, just because I like to have that connection. And so that's kind of like my witchcraft practice. It almost seems counterintuitive because it's secular, but then I kind of wrap it up into my pagan beliefs as well. And there are traditional witches who do deity work. So it all boils down to this. Do what makes you feel happy. If it makes you feel good, if it resonates with you, that's what you need to be doing. Listen to your intuition. What does your intuition tell you about the things that you believe? And kind of follow that, and then do some research on those ideas and see if they jive with you. And if they do, that's great. I will never tell you that you need to practice what I practice and how I practice. We're all individuals. We all have our own individual thing. Even in traditional witchcraft, if you join a tradition, it's still do the things that resonate with you, but we do certain things a certain way. In a tradition, it's a little bit more cohesive, the work that you do, but you're still free to do like deity work, things like that. And you can look into different types of folkloric witch traditions, and that's different than joining a coven. Let me just make that clear. That's becoming a part of a witchcraft tradition is different than joining a coven or a religion. Traditions are kind of different. Hard to explain, just a little different. So there it is. If you're still with me, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for listening to my rambling. Again, starting next week, look for 2 videos a week. A topical video, kind of like this, and then a vlog on Friday. I think next Friday I'm going to talk about some stuff going on with my conch piercing and some of the things that I want to talk about, and get a little bit of a book review, some other experiences that I've had recently. Talk a little bit about that on Friday. Tuesday's video, not sure what I'm going to do yet. I have an idea. I'm not sure yet 100%. So, but thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, if you are interested, or if you enjoy my content, my other content, if you've seen my other videos, consider subscribing and hit the bell notification so you'll know that every time I upload a video for you, or you'll know every time I upload a video for you. If you would like to follow me outside of YouTube, you can find me on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And my username is It's Oddly James, and that's for all three of those. If you want to hang out with me live on Twitch, I stream every every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over twitch.tv/It's Oddly James. Until next time, be well, be safe, stay odd, y'all. That dog right there. He's looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm trying to sit over here and bite my feet. Okay. Bite my feet again. I ain't worried about you. Oh. All right, here we go.